All right, welcome back to The Drive. Craig Harvey here. Got a gentleman riding shotgun with me today that you're going to want to listen to. He goes by the birth name of Dusty Todd, one of my better friends on this planet. We call him the franchise or the mayor. We'll get into that a little bit more later. But he captains a region. He leads a team, over 300 riders active on a weekly basis, okay? Last year, they did over $35 million in premium. A lot of people say, well, what did that mean for Dusty? $1.8 million. Now, I know you're not excited, but trust me, his wife, Heather Todd, is excited, and so is he. You won't want to miss this edition of The Drive. All right, let's go. Dusty, what is up, big boy? Thank you for coming to Santa Rosa, bad Santa Rosa, might I add, and being live here in my home. How you doing, boy?
Well, thanks for having me, buddy. It's a pleasure to be here, buddy.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's always fun to be able to, Dusty and I are big golfers, and whenever we golf together, I get really nervous because I know you're gonna beat my ass, okay, even with my inflated handicap. But I feel like we're more on an even playing field today.
Yeah, I get nervous as hell because this is where you dominate. I dominate your ass on the golf course.
This is true. This is true. Okay. Oh my God, dude, I want to go back because you really have done some amazing things at this business, and I've watched the men and women you've helped. But I like to go back to the beginning. I like to go back to like high school. What was Dusty Todd like in high school? If I were to ask your best friends, your parents, brothers or sisters, what would they tell me you were like?
Man, looking back to those days, dude, it was all athletics. Everything was geared kind of around sports. I grew up in a family where my dad, athletics was everything, whether it be football, baseball, basketball. So I kind of gravitated to that naturally. Fell in love with sports. And
What were you best at?
baseball was what I was good at. I was fortunately to go to the next level, get a chance to play in college. And
You play quarterback now. I know that.
well, I did play quarterback, a 5'8" quarterback. It's not going anywhere at the next level, man. But I was fast. I had pretty good arm.
5'8", 5'8". You're not 5'8", Dusty.
Well, that's what my driver's license.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Well, in the state of Georgia, where I formerly lived, you could write in your height.
Sure.
And so, I was always 6'1.5", which, even with spiked hair.
Well, we don't do that in North Carolina. If I'd have done that, I'd have been 6'2".
So they measure you there. They measure you there. So I grew up in an athletic background as well. I think so many people that succeed here at NASB in any sales arena, they had a competitive foundation. They had a competitive background, and you did the same.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of the success I've been able to have here in business. I think that athletics, the habits, the discipline, the daily routine, I think that transferred very well into the business world. And I agree with you. We've been able to hire a lot of and attract a lot of athletes that come from the same pedigree. And the blueprint that we have here, they seem to do better. I think that competitiveness definitely gives you an edge because if you're competitive enough, you'll figure the rest out.
So what did you want to do growing up? Did you ever have this dream job? Look, for me, it was sports.
Yeah.
Like I wished I pitched,
Mhm.
and dude, I could bring it.
Yeah.
I could move that thing, boy, for a 6 foot, little Caucasian kid, but I didn't have the arm. I mean, ultimately, but when I looked at, all right, when I'm 14, 15, 16, I would have loved to have been in the majors, loved to have played quarterback, but didn't have the height or the size. I mean, Drew Brees made it, What did you want to do back then?
It's the same thing, man. Obviously, I think any kid that has any little bit of success early on in sports, I think the big leagues is obviously the goal or the dream. That was me. Wanted to be a professional baseball player. Got a chance to go play in college, but I mean, you're 5'8". They draft on potential. When I figured that out, man, it was. I realized that probably wasn't a reality. I just wasn't good enough, man. I mean, there's a lot of great people out there, and but that was the dream. And then I came a crossroads. I had no idea what I wanted to do, man. Insurance definitely wasn't on the radar.
One of the things I've loved about just our friendship over the last 10, 11 years we've known each other is just how freaking competitive you are.
Sure.
I mean, you're just a competitive junkie like myself. I enjoy it. I remember when my Nana got Alzheimer's, and we used to play Old Maid. Remember Old Maid, where you turn the cards over and you try to remember?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. I still wanted to beat Nana's ass, all right? Even at 78, okay?
Yeah.
Just to, that's just, I don't know. There's just something innate inside me that we've talked about it. We like winning, but God dog it, we hate losing, And I think that did something probably for both of us to kind of instill within us a whatever it takes to win. kind of attitude. You go through high school, you graduate, and what happened next? Were you the college guy? Did you do college?
Yeah, so I played sports in college. I played baseball in college, and eventually it came a time, and I hurt my shoulder, messed my shoulder up, and it came a time there where you kind of had to hang the cleats up, and I had no idea what was going to be the next chapter. What was going to be next on the radar. Because if I'm being honest, dude, I didn't go to college for a degree. I got one while I was there. I went to college to play baseball,
Same.
and
Football.
eventually it came a point where that was over. One of my best friends growing up, the reason why I got into insurance, one of my best friends growing up, his father, he was a very successful entrepreneur. And he said, "Dusty, you should look into insurance." I'm like, "Insurance? Dude, no, I'm not a salesman. I mean, I come from a small country town. We hunt and fish, right?" And anyway, he was like, "Look," he was like, "think about it, man. Think about 2 or 3 people that you know that do insurance. It's a grind for the first couple years, but doesn't it seem like their life's always easier? They're always, traveling. They're on the golf course. They're always taking these luxury trips." He was like, "Because there's so much money in the industry, and I know you'll work hard. You've had some success at a lot of things
So
you've
somebody
done."
told you this at like 19.
Yeah, I was
20?
23.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
right after college.
did you graduate? Did you get a degree?
Yeah.
Good for you, dude. What was it in?
Business major.
Oh, boy.
Baseball is what it was.
Yeah,
Not
baseball business, right?
No.
That's it's just so amazing how so many of the partners, the guys that have rung that $1 million bell, which by the way, congratulations, 1.8 million earned last year. How the hell does it feel to be a millionaire, sir?
It's pretty crazy, man. But dude, I think you said this, man. If you've ever been hungry, you'll never be full.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's great, but dude, we're not done.
Dude, it doesn't feel the same either, does it?
No.
Like I remember when my business partner Chad Milner said, "Dude, congratulations, you're a millionaire." I'm like, I don't feel like a millionaire.
No.
I mean, it's not something that it's you walk around and you have the hat or you all wear the shirt or whatever it might be. Money makes you more who you already are. If you were a butthole and you become a millionaire, you an asshole now, son, right? and it just expands your ability to be more of what it is that matters to you. So with your story, you get this favorable, I guess, introduction where somebody says, "Hey, insurance might be the way."
Yep.
He obviously saw something in you to even spark that conversation. What were you doing before North American Senior Benefits? Did you just transition right into insurance, or was there a prelude of time?
So that made me get licensed. I'm like,
Okay.
crap, man, he's right. This guy, I looked up to him. He's a big mentor.
He was taller than you, obviously.
Yeah, well, most people are, but anyway, yeah, I definitely looked up to him. However, I went and got licensed. Worked with a company called Aflac. Dude, I failed.
Aflac?
Yeah, failed miserably, dude. They were telling me I was doing good.
Duck company?
Duck, baby.
Did not know that.
They were telling me I was doing good, but I wasn't making money. And so my philosophy was like, I sit home and I can go broke. So I got out of insurance.
Dude, I bought an Aflac policy
Okay.
when my first wife and I were together. Look, if you I didn't know you back then. You could have sold it to me, but it's accidental insurance, right? Like it's.
I don't know if I could have sold you because I didn't sell crap there.
I did not know you worked for Aflac.
I did, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How long did that last?
About 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so I made some sales maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's a hard sale, bro.
dude, it's just a tough.
There's no
business
leads.
model. Well, yeah.
And the commission sucks. I'm just telling you. I remember the guy tried to hire me. I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that.
Well, I fell for it, man. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I ended up getting out of insurance. Actually got a job at a factory. I was a manager there. I hated being there though, man. It was shift work. Wasn't hard work, dude. But I absolutely hated it, man. So I worked there for probably 6 to 8 months. And dude, I
So
remember
shift work. When did you clock in? When did you clock out?
7 to 7, and it rotated every 2 weeks. It'll be like nights and days, and dude, it was just
Dude,
miserable.
I worked at Lithonia Lighting
Okay.
in Cochrane when I played football.
Uh-huh.
Freaking terrible. Bro, I mean, like sucks, a big stinky toe from a runner that just, ran a marathon. I mean, awful. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.,
Yes.
trying to stay awake, drinking Red Bull, I mean, yeah.
Dude, and then we rotated every 2 weeks. I could never get on a schedule. Dude, I absolutely hated it. Dude, I remember one day, what made me quit that job, dude? I looked, and there was a guy. He was an elderly gentleman, probably 50s, and he just looked miserable. And I was like, I mean, no, not picking on the guy, but it was just like,
That's going to be me.
I'm not going to be that guy in 25 years. I don't know what the heck I want to do, but that ain't it.
That's awesome.
Ended up going back to school, instantly quit, was going to get my MBA, still didn't know what I wanted to do. And then randomly Keith calls me one day. I had my license, Keith calls me and said he gave me his pitch, and I had zero belief in the insurance.
How did he meet you though?
Dude, I don't know. He got my resume off of maybe Monster back then or something, but I had my
So
license.
cold called you.
He cold called me.
Wow.
I wasn't even looking for a job.
Keith
Thomason. Wasn't even looking for a job. And then, but I took the call, thankfully. I think, Big J, the
Yeah,
God himself put
Nod
me,
from God. Yep.
put me in the right place. And I took the call, and it just sounded different, though, because I had no belief in insurance because I already been promised the moon over there at Aflac. Didn't work out. But, I did a ride along, watched the process, a lot easier, a lot simpler, and jumped in.
When was the first time, Dusty, you were attracted to his daughter?
That was the first time I met her.
I remember. So I remember the first time I met you. We had a convention. I think it was the Marriott, and you and Heather were dating. And first impressions are whatever.
Sure.
And when I met you, I thought you were more into Heather, who is now your wife. Mother of three of your only children. Three of your children. Your only three children came from Heather. Let's be clear. But I'm like, dude, is he into NASB, North American, or is he into Keith's daughter, Heather? It was a big coin flip for me. I didn't know which one it was, but you got off to a good start, man.
Sure.
You did.
Well, I think it was both. I was into both. Right?
There you go. There you go. Well, when you marry, Keith's daughter, you did something right, and it obviously has created a lot of happiness for you. But that happiness, look, let's just be honest, is largely a result from the success you've had in business. I don't know anybody that struggles financially that experiences happiness. I know what it is, man. I remember my dad, me asking my daddy to go to the movies, and God rest his soul, Big Jack upstairs poured out of a plastic piggy bank, pennies, dimes, nickels, a few quarters onto the bed, and counted me out $5.50. I'm not shitting you, in money to go to the movies with my friends. And I remember he put it in like this, like one of those little plastic bags, and this is what I took. So everybody else is paying with a 5 and 50 cents, 5 ones, breaking a 10.
You got a roll of change.
I'm bringing this change, baby. I didn't know any better. That was my heritage. That's what I knew. And so your kids won't have to grow up like that. Your wife won't have to experience that. And that's a great testament to you and so many within your organization. 300 plus individuals get to experience, and when I say sit at the feet of your leadership, I mean, that's a big freaking deal, man. But look, that is now. Let's talk about then, right?
Sure.
Because it didn't start like that.
No, absolutely.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So, well, I think you talk about when I got into the business here.
Yeah, well, I want to go back to right after you look. You and Heather were dating.
Yeah.
You went to the meeting.
Sure.
Did you come off to the fastest, quickest of starts, or did it take you some time?
Well, before I met Heather, I was actually successful here. I actually met her through the business.
That's the only reason Keith probably let you go out with her is because you were successful here. Think about it.
Probably.
Like if you sucked, he would have blocked the dating altogether.
Yeah. But my first journey here, I think when it really popped for me, man, is I'd been doing this for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks in. To be honest with you, man, because of my experiences at the other company, I didn't have any belief. I took this job as a part-time job. If Keith knew that, he probably wouldn't even hire me. Yes, school was getting out, college, and
So you're how old at this point?
I was 25.
Okay.
25. I just went back to get my master's in business, and
you're 36 now?
37.
37. You look 36.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Don't let this gray hair fool you. I still got my fastball.
You look like Marty Smith.
Still got my fastball,
Like if
sir.
Marty Smith commits a crime, he's going to blame you, okay? Because you guys are twins, I'm telling you.
Yeah. But anyway, man, back to our story, Craig, before you keep cutting me off here. I'm just messing. We're having fun. Anyway, I think it really changed for me after I've been doing this for a little bit, because I was kind of part-time, didn't really have a lot of belief, made a little bit of money, not any real big money yet that I'd heard about. Well, I went out one day, saw this lady that, she was an agent, had put her in a terrible situation. Took her out of a good policy, put her in a very bad policy, a waiting period. She didn't really have coverage. She was perfectly healthy. Anyway, I was able to help her out, upgrade her situation, and I got paid like $2,000 to do it. I was like, holy crap, this thing is real. This thing's real. I felt the deposit, but also it made me feel good because I was helping her. So that one day, I think it changed everything for me, because I looked at this business different. See, before that day, it was just a job.
Yeah.
But then I caught a vision of what could be. And I think a lot of times on the way to maybe a goal or a destination, sometimes you get lost, but you end up catching a bigger vision. And that's what happened to me that day. And since then, man, I've really seen this vehicle for what it could be, not what it was at the time. But belief's what it was, man. It changed everything. How about you, man? What was that time for you? I know this is your podcast, dude, but I want to ask your question too, because you've been very successful. But look, dude, early on, what was it that changed it for you, buddy?
Oh, well, look, we didn't prep for that, but, I went out and had some big days just like you mentioned.
Sure.
I was in Louisville, Kentucky, smaller contract, different company, but I think, I was on a 55% contract, bro. 55% of which we only got a 30% advance.
Wow.
So think about that, 55%, 30% is advanced, do the math on that. I mean, you better be damn good at selling or you're not gonna be able to keep the lights on.
Mm.
Imagine even,
Right.
in a hiring standpoint, to have 5 points of a coaching, percentage, right? We call it an override, but I would call it a coaching percentage was a luxury.
Mhm.
But I remember going out one day and I wrote 4,000 in business in a day. And now this is back in the day when we collected checks. You had to collect the check or you had to get the money. But I remember going home and telling my spouse at the time, the only thing standing between us and financial prosperity is time in the field. If I can just spend time in the field. Now, what I didn't know was I had a shitty vehicle. I mean, that sumbitch had a V6, okay? No V12, all right? I didn't have, what the McLaren had or what the Bentley has or what the DBS now, my Aston Martin,
Yeah.
no. And a faster vehicle with talent, you put a great driver in a slower vehicle, that sumbitch is gonna get beat by a worse driver that's got a better vehicle. Make sense? And so I think
Sure.
that was the marriage of NASB, North American Senior Benefits. When I started it as an agent. You know that. I started it as I didn't think like the owner. I thought like one of us, which is what I've always been, and that was always something that meant a lot to me. I want to get into what really accelerated your business here at NASB because Dusty, you really have. You've become partner. You've rung that bell. You sit at this table with, some 25 others that are not only successful financially,
Sure.
but you're helping others become successful. There had to have been a key event, a key conference, a key road show, or a leadership seminar that we ran together. Do you recall anything like that kind of launched you?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 points that really changed my business, drastically. Obviously, that was on the selling side, the point I just talked about earlier when it just really changed my belief on the business because I felt like I was really helping people. When my business went to the next level, it was April 3rd, 2018. It was when my firstborn son was born. And up until that point, I kinda looked at this business like an opportunity. From that day moving forward, it was a responsibility.
Mm.
And I knew that I had to make some changes, some adjustments in the business, self-reflect, and become the leader that I needed to become to lead the team that we have now. So I had to self-reflect, make some changes, some adjustments. But I think that day changed it all because 18 months later I hit partner, but it was because of just looking at this vehicle in a different lens. I think a lot of times people get caught up in what can it do for me today, short-term money, short-term opportunity, whatever it is. No, you need to look at this thing 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Because if you focus on that, you'll do the right things to help you achieve that. And so that changed it all for me. And then another big thing was the conference right after, you guys were acquired by Integrity, and you guys, when you hit the partner level, you got stock.
Yeah.
And I remember you announcing that.
Yeah.
And I said, I wasn't even an RVP at the time. And I said, dude, I am gonna get that stock. I'm gonna be one of the first people to get it. And that drove me hard. Yeah, and I was one of the first. I think me and Andrew were probably me, Andrew, and Brian were the first three to get it.
I remember a book I read years ago, Gold Medals or German Shepherds.
Mm.
And you're either chasing a gold medal,
Sure.
which I've known a little bit about that, trying to ring some bells and do some things. First one in my bloodline to ever make $100,000 right here. First one to ever make $1 million. First one to ever make $10 million. First one I'm about to hit $100 million.
Mm.
Haven't hit it yet. I'm very close. Okay. And it's, we talk about our kids standing on our shoulders. You got to ask yourself as a father, what are my shoulders? Where are my shoulders positioning my children to stand? And I know being a dad is huge to you, and you know you've got 3 babies now.
Mhm.
I saw little Bella this morning on the FaceTime, and Maddox and Tucker.
Yeah, Maddox and Tucker, yeah.
Yeah, and it all started with Heather.
It did.
Yeah, shout out. I mean, hey, family man. But dude, I've just watched your progression of. I'm not going to say you got more serious. Maybe you took it more serious. I think you said move from opportunity to responsibility. Yeah, that's phenomenal, bro. Phenomenal. And you know, being able to look as parents, we feel responsibility, but it's another thing to fulfill that responsibility. You know, and to take pride in, you know, doing right by your kids, doing right by your spouse, knowing that, you know what, she chose right. My kids are growing up with a parent to look up to. And look, I'm not saying that insurance is the only vehicle, but damn it, it's been the only one that I've seen.
Pretty good.
Yeah, outside of the friends that I've had through high school and college to be able to accelerate just this financial ability to not only do for yourself but to do for others.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, dude, it's like, look, you think about some of the most prestigious careers out there, lawyers and doctors.
Yeah.
Doctors go to school for what, 10 years to come out? Like my sister-in-law, I think, is that the right terminology? My wife's sister, yeah.
Your sister-in-law, yeah.
Sister-in-law, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So my sister-in-law, she's just got out of med school. She's in her, you know, her apprenticeship or whatever it's called there. What's it called? Residency. That's what it's called.
Residency, yeah.
Residency, and I think she's making $62,000 a year.
Wow.
So she went to school for 10 years to make $62,000. And a lawyer on the other side, on the other hand, excuse me, they go to school for what, 6 years, come out, have to work under somebody for 2 years to make. I think the average income for that's like 70,000.
Sure.
So when I'm talking to people here, I'm like, guys, we can teach you. We have a vehicle. You don't have to go to school for 10 years. First 12 months, you can make 6 figures if you just put in the work. If you just follow the principles that we teach.
The opportunity. Oh my God, Dusty, the opportunity to be able to come in. And here's what I wanted to say. I was thinking back on your journey. Maybe you thought about going into coaching. Maybe as you were a player, as you know, a football player, baseball player, basketball. Maybe one day you said, coaching is in my future. I see you as such a great coach and leader of men and women. And I don't know if that was your vision then, but it sure as hell is what you're doing now.
Well, it actually was, dude. I thought about getting into coaching, but the reason why I didn't go into that is because I didn't make a lot of money. And I look at all the, you know, the stuff that you have to go through. I mean, it's not easy. You have to have patience to be a coach.
Yeah.
I probably didn't have enough patience back then, but that was the reason why I didn't get into coaching, because of the money. But I mean, I kind of did, because that's what I'm doing now.
You've hired so many studs. I mean, you really have. You have been, and I say it all the time, you have to be it to attract it.
Sure.
You spot what you got, but if you're like a 6, dude, good luck hiring a 9.
Yeah.
So you became a 9, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. But if I were to ask you your superpower in business, everybody's got one. Well, what do you think your superpower is?
Man, I think since we're on the superpower here, I think X-ray vision. And what I mean by that, Craig, is I think I have a good ability to be able to see something in others that maybe they don't see in themselves yet. And I think that's really helped me.
Such a great answer. X-ray vision. I wish I'd have thought of that. If I'd have thought of that, I'd have said it. That's phenomenal, bro. So, and I have talked a lot. Now, I wrote about it, and we're about to get into Driven, about closet winners.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
1000%.
You know what I mean? Closet winners.
That guy that's got the ability. However, he's just hasn't found the right vehicle, or maybe he hasn't seen or hasn't met the right person that sees something in him that can pull it out of him.
Dude, that's how I built my army. All my frontline guys, everyone never made $100,000 before.
Really?
Jordan never made $100,000.
Wow.
Evan Dave never made $100,000. Isaac never made $100,000. Chris Isbill never made $100,000. Tony Sachs never made $100,000 before our partnerships. And so there was an element of loyalty.
Yeah.
There was an element of, wow, you know, this guy's taking me to a place I've never been. All of them, high 7 figures. Hell, Jordan sold for $47 million. Evan Proach is making $4 million a year now. And so, you know, I'm damn proud of that. And I know you are too.
Dude, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's because we always say higher, you know, above, not below. So talk about that, man. What did you identify in them?
With this reversal of roles here,
Look,
okay?
man, this is good stuff, because it's a great point. What did you identify in them or what did you see in them that maybe they didn't see in themselves?
Well, you know, I think there was a root there. There was a seed there that there was a little bit of a flame that could be fanned, that could grow. Okay, there was a campfire that we could grow into a bonfire. Makes sense to where I just felt like if they had the right. When I say leadership and coaching, I did it different. I was all up in their life, their business, their finances, their family. I wanted it to be holistic, to where they weren't just making money; they were becoming better men. Okay, and I just felt that the relationship that I could create with them in the various areas that they were throughout, the U.S., we could make a difference if we could just get in front of the right people. They were communicators. They all could speak well. They dressed well. They were sharp as a tack. They were enthusiastic as hell. And they became experts in their field. Now, the expert in the field was up to me, okay? Being sharp, always looking the part, dressing for the job you want, not the job you have. Understanding you never know when you walk out of your house who you're going to meet. That first impression principle was just key. But then working with them on verbiage, working with them on preparation, working with them on stage presence. And we could go in a multiplicity of directions there. But trust me, the Jordan Smith you see today wasn't the Jordan Smith that I hired in Raleigh, North Carolina when it first started.
But I think that goes into coaching and leadership, man. A lot of that stuff people take for granted, but people that really know how to develop people, they know how to pull that stuff out of people.
I think it's choosing the right people too. And this is your podcast. We're here with the franchise, the mayor, Dusty Todd, and you're kind of flipping the script on me. But any individual that's in a role that you're in is like a GM of a team. You have the ability, the privilege, dare I say, the responsibility, right? And the opportunity, whom you're going to choose, whom you're going to draft, whom it is that you're going to pull close to you and pour into. And, woe be unto you if you choose wrong, because that's what the Cleveland Browns continue to do, right? And that's why they continue to lose. My beloved Atlanta Falcons. Well, the Cowboys, yeah, Jerry needs to, maybe
Give it up.
pass that one off.
Yeah.
But, dude, that is the key.
Sure.
It's surrounding yourself with the right people. And it's not just talent. It's loyalty, right? It's the ability to work through issues and to get to the other side. Speaking of that, I want to get into this book, Driven, because I wrote it at a difficult time in my life. I was going through the divorce, and it gave me an outlet. I felt like I had something to say. And, it mirrors a lot of the 5 love languages, that if you're speaking a language that your partner's not speaking, then it's not their fault that you keep telling them how beautiful they are, words of affirmation. What they really want is quality time. So that taught me you can love the right person the wrong way. If you can love somebody the wrong way, you can lead somebody the wrong way. So I looked at my all the individuals that came to North American, and I said, what button can I press outside of revenue? Because it always starts with money, right? If they're not making the money, come on, you're going to go somewhere else. But outside of that, what can we do to maximize the skill set within this person? What was your R?
So I think, obviously, revenue was the driver early on. I never experienced the money before, and so that drove me. But eventually, that money, if that's your driver, I think eventually that'll tap out. You have to find something maybe more a bigger purpose. Then it turned into rivalry. That's what made me get into team building. I saw, because I like to compete. I hate to lose more than I like to win. Yeah. And so that's what made me want to build a team, was the fact that I was competing with my other peers because I felt like they were passing me. And so that's what made me start to build a team. But really, dude, my driver is relevance. Knowing that, I make a difference in the other agents that I coach, agents and leaders that I'm developing. And I could go on with different success stories, but that stuff fires me up. Like just meeting, like a Blythe Ward, who when I met her, she was doing my wife's makeup. And I think they were on food stamps. And I think she'd be okay for me to tell that because she's making 7 figures. Yeah. 7 figures, that's right, from food. And knowing that she put the work in, but I had a little part of that. Sure. Austin Vanderford, he was one of my best friends in college. And, he called me one day and said, look, dude, he was making $300,000 in the car business. But he has 2 beautiful daughters at the time, and he didn't have any time with them. He was like, man, what are you doing? I see you on Facebook, man. You're traveling. You're doing great stuff. He was like, what the heck? What's going on? And anyway, I got him in this platform, and watching him hit partner, I think in 3 years, now he's got his time with his girls, and he's got the money. Stuff like that, knowing I had a little bit of part of that. The stories could go on and on. That's what really fires me up. That's why I get up in the morning, just Who else can I help today?
I mean, that's what keeps you climbing.
Absolutely, man.
I mean, I was going to ask you about that, but you just answered it, and
Dude,
it's
it's not about now. It's about where we can go. And the Todd name is going to make a legacy in this business. I know it is.
You're damn right. That's powerful.
I mean,
That'll move you, boy. That'll move you.
Yeah.
And look, you got to ring the bell yourself.
Sure.
And I have nothing wrong. I heard Floyd Mayweather once do an interview, and he talked about self-preservation. And he said, the reason it's about me is because of what I do for others. I don't know that Floyd Mayweather, okay, is the best philanthropist or giver back to those that have helped him or have been a part of his journey. But I do credit him with saying that. I'll never forget him saying it, that, look, I've got to win in order for me to help others win. And he was talking about the people that he had brought up and the people that were part of his entourage and group. And it does mean so freaking much to be able to not just make money, but to make a difference, not just in the lives of the people we sell to, but in the lives of the people that we help create, becoming sellers, becoming agents of change. It's got to be massive. Let me go next into this. In business, and you said this, we're expected to win. You like winning, but you despise losing.
Mm-hmm.
And people talk about we win or we learn. Right. First time I heard that, I think Conor McGregor said it. I'm sure other people said it, but Conor said it in the ring when one of his latest defeats, which, shout out to the great legend there, the notorious one. However, people often say that and they don't follow it up with what they've learned. It's like a clap phrase. It's like, oh yeah, he knows what he's saying. Well, does he? What have you learned? So my question to you, forget the successes, the losses. What have the losses taught Dusty Todd?
Well, I think there's been a lot of them, man, because a lot of people call it failures. I don't like to call it failures. Now, it's a great question, by the way. The challenge I have with, like, the word failure, I think if you don't grow from the failure, it becomes your fault. And so a lot of the lessons that I've had, a lot of the failures, lessons, whatever you want to call them, has really taught me a lot of just great lessons. So hopefully I don't make the same mistake again. Two that come to mind where I've talked about that. The first one is, believe it or not, is actually relationships. I was terrible with relationships early on in the business.
Really?
Because it was about me. Now if the relationship, if it happened naturally, then it was okay. But I didn't seek to go make the relationship, honestly, because it was about me. I was being selfish. And but now I think that is my strength. See, a lot of times, Craig, I believe this, man. A lot of times people, they focus on their strengths because they're easy, and you should. However, they never take the time to really develop their weaknesses. But if you watch this, a lot of times that weakness is what's holding you back. But if you develop it right, sometimes it can become your strength. And that's what happened to me. And I think relationships are one of the strongest things about our team now. Our culture, working with the right people and having great relationships with our people. So that was one failure lesson early on that I made a mistake, that I corrected it. Another one, dude, this is a big one, and it's probably cost me a lot of money, was the inability or avoidance of conflict. I wouldn't address conflict directly. See, I remember there was a time there when I hit partner, and I was kind of playing defense, meaning I was trying to conserve, the team that I had. This is an offensive sport, dude. When you get into team building, people are going to leave. It just is what it is. The leaders are the ones that stay around. But I was so caught up in playing defense, and so I was avoiding a lot of hard conversations that I needed to have. And so I probably spent 6-12 months trying to keep people, cancers that we should have cut out. They end up leaving anyway. And I look back, I'm like, crap, if I would have been putting my time focused on offense, pouring into the right people, or finding more of the right people, dude, how much further along could we be? Because I believe, look, this is one of the best opportunities in America, if not the best opportunity in America. And a lot of people need it just like I did. But I was spending time trying to please unhappy people. That's a huge, huge lesson, dude. Not anymore, dude. This ain't defense. This is offense, baby.
You talk about conflict. I mean, dude, I was the opposite. I mean, me, I would hunt conflict from time to time. I mean, if conflict to me was like constipation, right? I want to get it out, right? I just want to deal with it. If there's an issue, So how do you do that from somebody that avoided conflict, that was a resistor of difficult conversations and conversations that are going to lead to uncomfortable circumstances? Do you have an approach now? Do you have a methodology whereby you bring something up, or are you just like, hey, dude, this is an issue, let's talk about it?
Well, I think, why do people avoid the conflict? Because they're worried about the feelings of
the results. Yeah.
The result. Exactly. That person might quit. I don't care. I don't care anymore. If they quit, That's fine. No, I'm going to take them direct. I'm going to approach it directly.
That's good.
I'm going to talk to them, and we're going to get it all out there. If they're being a cancer, hey, we got to fix that. We're look. I got to protect the culture of the team because culture drives commerce, right?
You'll never change what you won't confront.
1000%, man.
And if you want to create change, there's got to be, look, you can confront it in a non-confrontational way.
100%.
Right.
Now, Jordan and Keith have taught me that.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I've got a psychology degree now. But no, you're 1000%, man. You can't be scared to confront it because if you won't confront it, it won't change.
Talk about partner. Making partner here is huge.
Yeah.
It guarantees you 7 figures. I mean, you're knocking on the door to $2 million a year. $2 million a freaking year, dude. You're making football player money. You're making baseball player money. Seriously. What has that meant to you?
Dude, huge accomplishment, man. I'm grateful for the title. But honestly, Craig, if I'm being honest, it was a huge accomplishment. What I'm the most proud of, though, is the person that I became on the way to partner. The character that 98% of people probably don't have. The habits, the daily routine, the things that the skill set that I've been able to implement with communication. How about relationships, dude? Not only ones that I've created, but I've been able to sustain. And that's the thing I'm most proud of because it gives me the confidence that, unfortunately, if it fell apart today, I know I could do it again if I had to. I don't want to, but if I had to, I could.
Dude, I'm writing this new book, and I just finished a chapter, and basically the chapter's premise, the thesis was, who you're becoming is more important than where you're going. For years, I was always focused on where I was going, right?
Yep.
Versus who I was. Where I was going versus who I was becoming. And dude, there were times I got there and lost it.
Yep.
There were times I rang that bell and it got stolen from me. There were times that I got, the cape put around you and the cape stripped off you because who I wasn't strong enough to sustain where it was that I was chasing and where it was I was trying to go. And I've watched your journey. I mean, I've watched you grow up. I've watched you become just a man among men. And by the way, the mayor, I mean, you were nicknamed the mayor by my business partner, Chad Milner. How the hell did that come about?
Well, look, we're going to save that one for another podcast here, brother. We can go all day about that. But let's just say I was campaigning one night and I got elected, okay? I got elected, right? I was taking over the town of Milledgeville.
Dude, I've said for years, change. I freaking hate change. The reason I hate change is I like my life just like I like it, right? And I like, if I could just put it in this box and get to live it with my friends. And, I live in Santa Rosa, so the weather's beautiful. And, the inconsistencies of whatever it might be, Mike Tyson said, right? The punches you don't see in life are the ones that knock you out. He was talking about the ring, but it's life as well. Change is inevitable.
Yep.
I wished it wasn't. Growth is optional. So it's our choice to grow.
Yeah.
It's not a given. It's not, a birthright that we're continuously going to grow. So what are you doing to grow? What are you working on right now that continues to keep your saw sharp and people listening? And look, multitudes do when Dusty Todd speaks. How do you maintain that?
Well, look, dude, I believe that people leave you. So whenever you lose an agent, they leave you. And so I know that, look, if
They don't leave the business, they leave you.
yeah, they don't leave the business, they leave you.
It's good.
And even when you're hiring somebody, people that want recruiting advice, look, people buy you. You got to sell yourself to them before you ever sell a company.
That's right.
Because they're coming to work for you. But I believe that philosophy that when people leave, it's because they leave you. So if I'm not constantly working on getting better in certain areas, then I can't lead the team that I have now. And so I'm always doing that. But what I'm really focused on now in our business is leaders developing leaders. And what I mean by that, I'm blessed to have a great front line. But the foundation is kind of my focus for this year. And what I mean by that is I'm really focused on the leaders that we have now. Their leaders, are they developing leaders? Because I'm not looking at this thing for what it is right now. I'm looking for what we can create 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. Because look, people don't build companies, leaders do. And so I'm really intentional with just diving down. And a lot of that, it's kind of hard because it's more listening. What's being said when I'm not up there on the stage. That was probably a hard part for you, man, just having to take a step back, give the mic up, but listening to what's being said. But
then give the constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because, everybody wants to know how they did.
Yeah.
Once their session is over. And you don't, especially in that moment.
Sure.
Like I stopped giving, critiques, be it positive or even negative, in the moment.
Sure.
I would say, hey man, look, you know what? You did the best job you could.
Yep.
Let's talk. Let the emotion kind of get away and say, dude, you did these 3 things great. These are 3 things though that I think you can strengthen.
Dude, it's hard. It's hard to do that though, because I could have done a better job. However, if I want my company to grow, that person's got to become me.
Yeah. Sooner or later, you can't drive the car all the time. You gotta let that 15 or 16-year-old get behind the wheel. John Mayer was recently asked if he could go back and talk to his self when he was 20 years old. They said, John, if you could go back and talk to yourself when you were 20, what advice would you give yourself? And I'm going to quote Mr. Mayer here, John, when he said, it doesn't matter, I wouldn't have listened. But dude, I turned 50. I don't want to look it. I don't look it. But I did. I often think, dude, if I could go back and talk to young Harvey Time, Harvey Time at 25, at 30, what would I tell myself at 35, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? Dude, you said you're 36 earlier.
38.
38, all right? You keep getting older.
Dude, I forgot I just had a birthday. I'm sorry.
As the podcast.
But look, I told you.
Check the tape. I thought it was 36. Okay?
I still got my fastball though, so don't forget that. All right.
That's right. Well, talking about that fastball, and I agree with you. What advice would you give yourself? I think that is such a great, just illuminating question, because it's a question of reflection, but it's also a question of self introspection and not regret, but damn it, if I got a do-over, if I got a mulligan, here's the way I would use it going back. What would you tell you?
Well, I probably wouldn't listen, like I think John Mayer said, have our maturity helps.
You might.
Dude, that's a great question, dude. What comes to mind, Craig, is stop trying to be successful, or excuse me, stop trying to look successful and focus on being successful. And what I mean by that is, so many times young people, they want to look the part. They want to flash their nice watches. They want to flash their Lamborghinis, their cars, whatever it is. But it's the small habits, the daily routine, the character building, the skill set that goes into being successful, and that stuff compounding, daily over time. That's what leads to huge results, man. And so, I mean, stop trying to focus on looking successful. Learn how to be successful.
I have the privilege of mentoring my son, Caden, Jack Harvey. Shout out to CJH there at the University of Georgia. And I keep telling him, bro, what other people think about you, it doesn't matter. More important than what other people think is what you think. And dude, it took me a lot of years, Dusty, to mature and mentally and emotionally graduate to the point that instead of seeking the approval of others, dude, it was seeking the approval of myself. Now, there's a fine line there, right? Because, people take that and they say you get out of bounds and you get off the road. Look, the way I was wired, it wasn't the case, because it was about, at times, what others thought versus what I knew to be true. And I was wrong. And it only happened when I grew up to the point that my opinion mattered more than theirs. Does that make sense?
It does, 100%.
And not to where you're snooty or you're unteachable, or you're somebody that's better than someone else. It's just listen, it's appreciating the opinion that you have versus esteeming the words.
Subjective.
Exactly.
Just not true. Yeah, exactly.
Of somebody else. That's incredible insight on your part. Look, I'm a thief of information, of if it quotes or just ideas. God gave you eyes to plagiarize, right? Definition of originalities, forgetting where you heard it, right? But who speaks to you? Like who fills your faucet? Who keeps your cup full? Who keeps your pantry just absolutely overflowing? What books? Is it podcasts? Is it meditation? What keeps that saw sharp for you every time you speak, talk, address? You're always loaded. Where does that come from?
Well, I'm always doing something, listening to podcasts. PVD's got some great stuff. NEL. I mean, there's so many people out there that's got some good stuff. I will tell you this, man. A couple books that I've read last couple months really stuck out to me. The first one, believe it or not, it's actually called Under Siege by Trump, Eric Trump, the president's son. He wrote that book, and dude, why that book resonates with me so much is I love hearing the journey when Eric was younger, his kids, and like just listen, or excuse me, when he was younger, just the lifestyle that he had, and how his life was as a kid. Because look, I don't care if you like Donald or not. There's one thing you can't argue. He's done a phenomenal job developing his children.
Mm.
And so I think one of the things that really, like, my fears is my kids are going to have it easier than I have it. I think one of the things, like you and I, that really drove us and made us successful in business was that fight, that will. And it didn't matter. I didn't need to do it. I had to do it.
That's right.
My kids don't have that. Hopefully they won't have that, or they're not going to have that. But just, so one of the fears is, am I raising them the right way? And just listening to some of the stuff that they did he did as a father, the mother did, is something that really opened my eyes to make sure that I'm putting the right principles in place for my kids. That was something that actually, for all the people out there, successful people that have children, it's a good read, man. I'm telling you. The second one that I think for leadership, man, is by Jocko. The one, it's called What is it? Leadership Strategies and Tactics. And it's a really good leadership example of taking ownership, because that's one of the big things about leaders that a lot of people don't do. They don't take ownership, man.
Dude, I want to hit this real fast,
Yeah.
because one of the things that success, like, there's always a price.
Sure.
There's always a price.
Absolutely.
And to be massively successful, you're going to miss some things. You're going to miss some birthdays.
Mhm.
The presents that they get will be better. You're going to miss some, not necessarily anniversaries or engagements. I remember missing so many weddings of friends of mine, and invitations to things. I wished I would have been there, but I had to say no to that in order to say yes to what created this.
Mhm.
Dude, you know what I struggle with, just talking about that, is when you're as blessed as we've been able to be. I grew up tough. You grew up hard. Malcolm Gladwell calls it desirable disadvantages. Desirable disadvantages that when you're not growing up like Maddox, okay, growing up like Rocky, growing up like Eden or Caden, or Bella, they won't have the same struggles that you and I had. How do you deal with that? Do you talk to Heather about that? How do y'all deal with that?
Dude, all the time, man, because I know that the struggles that I had is what defined me today. And so we're giving responsibility. We're making them do stuff like chores and stuff like that, because like they've got to get out there and they got to go to work. Like, I remember my dad coming home one day and he was like, I know we're getting back, you're talking about the back in the old days, but I remember my dad was like 13 years old, 12 or 13 years old. My dad said, "Hey, congratulations, son, I got you a job tomorrow. Mr. Stanley's going to pick you up at 6:30 in the morning." So I was chopping peppers in the pepper field with a hoe.
First job?
First job I ever had. Real job. I thought I was saying it was 12 or 13. Like,
Jesus.
yeah, I mean, but that type of stuff, putting that hard work in,
Yeah.
that defines me. That's who I am, because I know how to work hard and it wasn't given.
Mm.
And so I definitely have the fear of that with my children, but I want to make sure it doesn't happen.
I want to talk mentors real quick. I'm gonna get you out of here. Look, I'm with you, dude. I mean, we could go for.
For
By
sure.
the way, what a freaking podcast, son! I mean, you're crushing it, Dusty Todd. I'm telling you right now, just crushing it. Wow. The reason I want to talk mentors is, people ask me a lot, who were your mentors? Who were your mentors? And it bothered me. It always bothered me. And I would make shit up. Honestly, I would, because you always say your dad, right? You always say, the family member. That's just an easy answer. And I say eventually, recently, the last time I was asked that on camera, for some stupid reason, I've always been able to find words in words, and you can't spell the word Terminator without the word mentor in the word Terminator.
Never thought of that. That's true.
I don't know. It's fact. And so I answered it like this. I said, dude, some people have monsters.
Yeah.
Other people have mentors. Not to say that I haven't had mentors, but I've had more monsters than mentors in my life.
Yeah.
And, a monster teaches you what not to do. A mentor is someone that saves you time, energy, money, accelerates your process because they're showing you the way.
Yeah.
Which did you have and which did you learn more from?
So I've had both, but I think in business, I've been blessed to not have a lot of monsters. I've been blessed to have a lot of great mentors. On the, obviously the monsters early on, especially in sports, had a lot of monsters. That drove me, man. Look, nobody's gonna write my story but me, not you. And so that gives you the fuel. But I've been very blessed to have a lot of mentors in the business. That, I mean, you've been a great mentor, Keith, Jordan. I mean, so many names go on and on. But when I think about what they really taught me, Craig, like so much. They helped me get there faster. You want to go fast, you go along. You want to go far, you go with.
That's right.
I mean, you say that time and time and time again. 3 things that come to mind that have really helped me along my journey. Number 1 is patience. I think guys like me and you that like to win.
I hate patience.
I know, exactly.
Don't you hate it when somebody thanks you for your patience and you're like, I'm not patient?
Exactly, but one of the things that Jordan Smith is good at is patience.
He's a great patient man.
He is, and he taught me that look, it's not progress, or excuse me, it's progression, not perfection. So you gotta have patience, right? That's something that's a hard lesson for me.
I want to slow you down because dude, I know you. You can't hide from me.
Sure.
You are not a patient person.
Absolutely not.
So this was something that was an acquired behavior. I call it learned behaviors.
Sure.
Remember, it's something that I was not good at. God did not kiss me with this. It's not nature. Nature is what God kisses you. It's nurture. It's the way, it's what you develop.
1000%.
Yeah. So you have become patient over the years. It wasn't just something you always did.
No, look, I had no patience. Now I have some.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but I have some. But no, I mean, I think because of mentors, they've taught me that you got to have patience, and and eventually, it's not necessarily what's happening today. You got to be a little patient. Focus on progression. You look back 12 months later, look how far you've come. And I think that's important. Another thing that comes to mind, dude, this is actually really good, is Keith I've been watching him over the last couple of years, and he's really tried to instill this in me. Your name is your focus, or your name matters more than a number. And what I mean by that is it's your reputation.
That's right.
Every move that he has taught me to make has been about doing what's right. Not maybe what's going to make me the most money, but what's going to be right, because at the end of the day, we're all after one thing: your reputation and your respect. And dude, that's something that sometimes in business it can be hard, because you see the money sign, or you see the production, the number, whatever it may be, but your reputation matters. So your name over the number.
Dude, that's so good. It's so many things come to mind. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we were talking last night when we go to partner with somebody, which I want to get you out of here on that.
Sure.
But they're asking 3 questions. Like, number 1, do they like me? So if you're hiring me, I'm asking, does Dusty like me? Like, for Dusty to like me, wow, that's huge. Does Dusty like me? Because if he likes me, guess what? Number 2, can he help me? So does Dusty like me? Does he see something in me that's developable? Well, guess what? That creates confidence in me. That you have confidence in me. Does that make sense? So number 2, can you help me? What can you do? What can you impart? What can you leave me with? When our time is done, how will I be better off? But then the last thing that I ask, if you're looking to hire me, is I say, can I trust you? So think about it. The first 2.
So big.
Do you like me? What can you teach me? But then number 3, do I trust you? And that's what you're getting into right there, bro. Reputation. Your reputation will beat you across the nation. I've had, again, people talk about haters, and, the great Grant Cardone talks about go get more haters. And I hear that to an extent. What I've often said is when people can't beat you, they talk shit about you.
Correct.
And that becomes their only offense. That becomes their only defense against what you're doing. And it used to frustrate me. It still kind of does. Because, you never want to be lied on or about. A lot of times people say that they don't know you. But dude, what insight? What insight? I want to give you that last one, because I know you said patience, reputation, and there was a third that mentors taught you. Do you recall?
Well, I think the other thing is just don't make a long-term decision on a short-term emotion. Guys like me, we're emotional guys. Well, we get fiery. But you have to learn, and I guess that kind of goes into patience.
Permanent decisions on temporary
You
circumstances.
never make a long-term decision on a short-term emotion. Sleep on it. Let's talk about it tomorrow.
My boy's 19, and he wants to go into journalism. He wants to be the next Pat McAfee.
Yeah. Or he is. He's killing it right now.
Pat is killing it. Pat is killing it. Shout out to you, sir. But at the same time, Caden he's at Georgia. He's at the Grady School of Broadcasting, which the great Ernie Johnson graduated from, by the way. Little basketball reference there. But if Caden said, "Daddy, I want to go into insurance," Dusty Todd, hand to God, sir, he would be honored. I would be honored. I would feel safe, him working under your tutelage and under your leadership. And it's so funny how it happens so quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, one day you're the student, the next day you're the teacher. One day you are the mentored, the next day you are the mentor. And you have grown into one of the best that I know. And I don't use compliments casually, because they become worthless when you compliment everyone. Everyone doesn't do a great job. Everyone isn't the greatest of developers of talent. You are. If I'm watching this and I'm saying, dude, I like my life, I don't love it. I don't financially feel as though I am maximizing the potential that God gave me. And maybe I'm willing to take a risk. Maybe I'm willing to jump. All of us felt like that at one point. What would you say to that person? Who are you looking to lead next?
Well, I think you said it early on in the podcast, closet winner. That guy that maybe he's got the tools in the bag, but he hasn't found the right vehicle. Somebody, I mean, you hear coachable, hungry. Those are great attributes, but I love a competitor. I want somebody that loves to win, somebody that has great communication skills, and ultimately, it's integrity.
Hmm.
Skills can be developed, but your character is that's what keeps you growing forever. And I want somebody with integrity, man.
I can teach technique. I can't teach trust.
No.
What a phenomenal podcast. Hey, guys, did you like it? Would you thumbs it up? Did you like it? Will you share it with a friend? Did you like it? Get in touch with a franchise. If you're unsatisfied or unfulfilled with what you're doing, this guy can change your life the way he has so many more. Thank you. We'll see you next Monday on The Drive.